So, Thirsty Thursdays, the heart of Thirsty Thursdays.
Thank you. I hate seeing it go, but I love watching it leave. What was that? Hey, young adults, Sean O'Connor and Jill O'Connor, and we're ready for episode 2 of Thirsty Thursdays. We're going to be reading from Matthew 8 today, so grab a Bible, turn to Matthew 8, and we'll get into it in just a second.
Thirsty Thursdays are where we take a few minutes to share what we feel like God's doing in our lives. And last week, we invited you to wake up early with us at 6 a.m. to spend some intentional time with Jesus. Just soaking in his presence, reading scripture, listening to your favorite worship song, whatever you felt like was a way for you to recenter with God. So thanks for buying in and trying that with us. I will say some of the mornings were really fruitful. Some of the mornings were not so much for us, but it's just this act of obedience. So thanks for joining in. And there's obviously no guilt or shame if you missed a morning, but we want to continue partaking in that. And so you're welcome to join in and lean in with us.
A couple mornings ago, I read Matthew chapter 8. And it just jumped out at me. We have Jesus, he's just done the Sermon on the Mount, and then chapter 8, he's coming down from the mount, and we pick up the story there. When he came down from the mountain, great crowds followed him. And behold, a leper came to him and knelt before him, saying, Lord, if you will, you can make me clean. And Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus said to him, see, you say nothing to anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a proof to them. Stop there. So Jesus encounters this guy, comes off the Sermon on the Mount. This guy has leprosy, asks Jesus to be healed. Jesus heals him. And then what does he say? He tells him, go and tell nobody about this. Instead, go to the priest and do this week-long, it was over a week-long ritual that's going to cost him time, going to cost him efforts. He's going to have to buy animals to be sacrificed. It's all in Leviticus 14. It's this huge process that's going to cost him a lot. We have this encounter with Jesus, and yet he tells this guy, say nothing to anyone.
Now, hear us. We are strong believers in encouraging others and sharing what God is doing in your life. Ergo, Thirsty Thursdays. It's encouraging, and encouraging literally means to put courage into us. So when we do that, we see God moving and it builds our faith. It's also an act of worship when we share things that God has done in our life. And yet, after reading this passage, we realize that in any valuable relationship, there are elements that are just between you and that person.
Some encounters are sacred and only for those who are involved. For Jill and I, we share a ton of stuff with people, maybe too much sometimes, let's be honest, but there are things that we keep sacred for just us. With my son Maverick, a ton of what we end up doing, we post online, different things. We love showing the world who this guy is, and yet there are moments in our relationship, me and my son, Jill and Maverick, and even with Summit, our youngest, that's just between us. We're not going to share that with the world, and it's the same with every friendship and relationship that I have deep intimacy with.
Could it be occasionally that our encounters with Jesus are only meant to be between him and us?
Most of your encounters with Jesus are times that we want to celebrate and share. And yet may you be blessed with encounters that are so intimate and sacred that it's just between you and Jesus. That it's not for anybody else but you and him.
Thanks for joining us on episode 2 of Thirsty Thursdays.